Okay. Hello, good morning or good afternoon or good evening. So welcome to this series. So we're going to be trying to do a small or a mini website using Bootstrap. So if you are new to website design, before this, you should be able to have some fundamentals in HTML. You should have some basics about tags, elements, attributes. But even if you can't, you might still be able to cope up with the tutorial. The goal is that we want to build a small, let's say, corporate, simplistic, or a personal website using Bootstrap. So we're going to be using Get Bootstrap. And what's Bootstrap? So Bootstrap is a HTML, CSS, JavaScript framework. And what we mean by that is saying, instead of us to build our website with HTML, maybe add up some CSS, that's some styling, some kind of nice look and feel and appearance, color, all of that. And JavaScript, that's to say, have some pop-up, some action, some interaction kind of on the website. We can use Bootstrap to do everything just in one place. Of course, we can add to it. So Bootstrap is a framework, is a library that can help us achieve that. That's why if you come to the website where you have getbootstrap.com, it tells you that if you want to build very fast, responsive sites with Bootstrap, then you could use this particular system. Now, few things. I will use the very simplistic approach for this website. That's to say that we are going to have some documentation. So there are several ways to like implement Bootstrap if you want to start working on Bootstrap. But for prerequisites for this tutorial is that you already have Visual Studio Code. I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code, but you can use other alternatives like Sublime Text, Notepad++, and several other alternatives. But I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code. So you can go to download Visual Studio Code. You can download this, install it, and follow along in this lab. Right? Once you have Visual Studio Code installed, then you're going to have, and you open up, you're going to have something like this. Now, once you have an environment like this, so this is it, this is Visual Studio Code. So if you're using Windows, you can tap on this button, you're going to have it downloaded. If you're using Linux, you could use this Debian distribution. If you're using Mac, you can download and install this. Once you download, install it, you're going to have an environment like this, and you open it up. First thing you want to do, a Control-N, right? So Control-N, then you click on language. You say, I want to work on HTML because HTML is going to serve as the foundation for the website we're building, right? So you have an HTML document already. At the end of the day, we're going to save this file as our website name. And because most websites, we might just build a single application, which we call SPA, Simple Page Application. SPA is what? SPA is single, right? Page application. So where you just have one page of a website handling everything on that website. So we can be building something like that. So it's just going to be one page and it's going to have everything. Now, once you've installed Visual Studio Code, you get over to getbootstrap.com. One thing I want to point out is how do you start working on Bootstrap? So you could go to this, you could click on documentation. When you click on documentation, you're going to find an approach for you to implement Bootstrap. So let's try to satisfy this particular condition. Okay, it's got us in. Now, you're going to see quick start. So this is one way to like implement. So anytime you have this guy like this, you are building with your regular HTML site. So you're just going to have a doc type that tells your browser that, okay, this is a HTML document. Then you have an open tag HTML, closes here. Then you have a head part that have a title that tells you the name of the site or what page you are on, and a viewport that gives you some type of basic responsiveness and scales the website to the full width and height of your screen. Then, of course, you have the body. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to save this document as, let's say, go to my desktop and save this as test site. Let's say test, right? Let me just say test. or let's say YouTube, right? This is HTML. I'll click on OK. So it's going to save this as a HTML document. So if it saves it as a HTML document, that means that my browser can interpret it as a HTML document, right? So one thing I want to do is I want to use my Windows left arrow and divide my screen to the left, then tap on this and open a new tab, Control O, so that I can go open this particular file. So this is it here. YouTube, let me just tap Y. Okay, let me just say Y, youtube.html. This is the file here, and I click on open. You see, once I open, you're going to find out that this is very blank, right? So which is exactly the same thing I have here. If I say hello world, right? And I refresh, save and refresh, I'm going to find something like this, right? If I say we are learning how to build with Bootstrap, right? I save that and refresh, I'm going to see something like this. Now, this is just like you saying your development environment is set up. Once you've achieved that, if you do a Shift 1 on your keyboard, you're going to find this exclamation mark. So just find a way to get exclamation mark on your keyboard. For my keyboard is Shift 1, and I'm going to get that. If I tap on the very first one, so that's your boilerplate. Boilerplate will mean that is your simple starter template for your HTML file. If I save and refresh this, you see what's just going to change is this document here, which is the title. So in the basic HTML, we learned that, okay, this is a title tag, and the title tag is going to tell us what page we are in. So we can say, okay, YouTube tutorial for Bootstrap, right? Save this, refresh, and I'm going to see this on the far top. So this is my what? Title tag. So this just tells me, okay, my HTML page is working. If I want to do this from scratch myself, right, without using that template, I'm going to say HTML, close it, and I'm going to say head, right, title, and say YouTube tutorial. Then I'm going to now have body. So I could tab this to make it a little bit simpler for me to read. I could tab this, right, the head part, and also the body part. Without anything in the head body part, if I refresh this, watch this YouTube tutorial, this was what they did before. If I refresh, I'm going to find YouTube tutorial. In the body, if I say, okay, we are learning, and refresh, you're going to see we are learning. It then means my site is set up. But standard stuffs, you just want to take off everything, right? Refresh, everything is blank. Everything is blank. I do that standard Shift 1. I have this. I have my template set up. I could now start working on anything here. Anything goes here in the body of the website, right? I refresh, anything goes in the body of the website. Now, one thing you want to understand is that a website is going to have a simple structure. The entire HTML document is going to have the head part, where you can put in maybe your scripts, your Bootstrap code that is going to implement, that is going to affect the entire website. Then below the website, you can now put your JavaScript code. No, JavaScript code has to do with interaction. So why do you need to put your JavaScript code below your website? It's so that any issue you have with, let's say, the website being slow or whatever, all the text and content can load, then it loads your JavaScript files last. So it's normal standard to make sure that your JavaScript loads last, so that at least the content of the website loads first before the JavaScript. Okay, so that's that. So that is your like basic HTML setup. So let's go over the Bootstrap. So we're saying this is your regular HTML stuff we just looked at. But if you want to now include Bootstrap, you now want to work with Bootstrap. So you see there's some addition. This is the addition here, 1 and 2. Bootstrap within the header part of the website and JavaScript at the lower part of the website. So I'm going to copy this and replace this entire stuff with that code. So you can call this like your boilerplate, like your template, anytime you want to build in using Bootstrap. So if you check it very well, you see that this Bootstrap is a very, look at the file here. This is the file here, right? If you open it, you're going to see this is a CSS file. So it has things like color. Let me see if I can format CSS, and let's say format JavaScript, right? So we can use some online formatters. So I'll just tap on this for formatting my JavaScript. Any of them is going to work. Then I could say free CSS beautify formatter. I could use this as any is going to find. Any of that is going to work. So it's just for me to be able to sort out this and see what it looks like. So this CSS, I'm going to go to CSS formatter. I will put in this and say beautify CSS in a new window. So what it's going to do is that it's going to arrange it, sort it so that it's readable humanly. Same thing for the JavaScript. This is JavaScript. I'm going to go to this JavaScript. So this is a JavaScript file. From here up to this part. How do you know? .css is the file format for CSS documents, right? And .js is the file format for what? JavaScript file. .html is the file format for what? HTML file. So I'm going to copy this. I'll just paste. Oh, no, sorry. Let me open this, right? Right, so this is JavaScript file. I'll copy everything here, then paste it here. Then try to see beautify code. Okay, it has tried to beautify it. So beautify means that it's going to see the way it's arranged it. So these are just comments telling us that this is Bootstrap 5. It has a copyright, it's licensed under MIT. This is a function, right? Right? So you have different functions for mouse over. What happens when you do a mouse enter, a mouse over, when you leave your mouse? So all of the interactions that happen on the website is being explained here. Same thing for the CSS. See, the CSS have been formatted. It tells us that, okay, this is Bootstrap 5.3, copyrighted by Bootstrap authors, licensed under MIT. See the root. Anytime you see you use data BS theme light, you use BS blue, this is the color code. You use BS, that is Bootstrap indigo, this is the color code. If you come down and anytime you say something like data BS theme dark, right? BS body color, this is the color code. So that's to say that all of the color codes and for Bootstrap, for all of the interactions for JavaScript we have in JavaScript, we already have that at our beck and call. All we just need to do is to come to this Bootstrap documentation and pick only what we need, and the website is going to be done. So I've introduced I'll just explain a little bit about the Bootstrap file and the, what's it called, and the JavaScript file. So that's just what this guy means. It just means that this starter template that we copied, that we have here, if you expand this, right, it tells us that there's a CSS file that's there, and there's a what? There's a JavaScript file that is there. Okay, now, so you come to, if you want to follow along, you come to getbootstrap.com, you go to documentation. When you get to documentation, you go down to where you have include Bootstrap CSS and JavaScript. You copy this, right? You go to your open stuff, paste it, you save, take this to the left, and You refresh this also, and you're going to find this. Are you seeing the hello world? This particular hello world that you have here, right? This is it. You now see your hello world looks very different than the hello world of your ordinary HTML. How do you know that this Bootstrap is working? If I comment this particular link now, just double click on it and do a control/, it's commented. That means that Bootstrap is no longer in action for this website. I will save, I will refresh here, and you see how your hello world is going to appear. Just a header, one tag. But once I uncomment this by double clicking, control/, it's activated. I'll save it, I'll refresh. You see that what? You see Bootstrap, those CSS, those stylings are what? Already in action. Same thing if I try to do a button tag, and I say website design, right? I refresh. Are you seeing the way it is with Bootstrap? See the way this button is with Bootstrap. Then without Bootstrap, see the way it is. Very lame, very, very basic. That's why you don't want to do your coding on your website just plain. You could use frameworks. It makes it better, makes it awesome, and makes your work, you make the process very, very fast. So I'll take all of this, right? I'll save this. Now, what I want to do, I'll save this, and I'm going to call this, let's say, Bootstrap tutorial. Save this. Check this top part. For the title, it's going to change to Bootstrap tutorial. Let's say Victor Chidi, right? Save this. So at the end of this series, later on in this training, I'm going to show you also how to use ChatGPT to like auto-generate this entire file, so that you don't need to create everything from scratch yourself. So aside using Bootstrap, you can also piggyback on Bootstrap, use ChatGPT to like generate everything from start to finish. We're going to do that too, but let's do everything from scratch. And after everything, then we can now use ChatGPT to like generate all the entire file. I know everybody will like that part where you don't have to. But the point is that if you don't understand how to build from scratch, if you don't understand all of the different HTML tags, element, attributes, what will not happen is that if you see a code, you will not be able to make changes to it. If you see a code, you're not able to make adjustments. If you see a code, you cannot improve or contribute to that code base, right? Okay, so let's go back. So what we're going to do is that if you watch the Bootstrap documentation, you find out that by the far left, once you click on doc, by the far left, you have things like, let's say, layout. I'm going to be picking stuff from layout. I'm also going to be picking stuff from content, from especially components. So these are the building blocks of Bootstrap. Let me look at accordion, component accordion. If I open this, look at badge, open this, you see button, open this, you see card, open this, let's say, what's it called? Carousel, open this. Let's say we want to use something on, let's say, tables, open this. We want something on grid, open this. We want something on, let's do with this few. Accordion, badges, buttons, cards, carousel, tables, grid. Let's look at carousel. You see this carousel? Anytime we want to build something on the hero section of a website for this carousel, if we pick this HTML code, that is done. All we just need to do is to go to change this image source, image source, image source, and those three images, those three sliders have been done. What does this interaction? JavaScript does it. What gives this background kind of color, whatever? CSS. So the Bootstrap have handled all of that just because you picked this particular HTML code. If you need to create this from scratch, you might spend the next 1 hour coding this. But you already have this kind of slider here. So if you pick this, if I pick this now, go to this place, inside my body, paste this, save it, right? And refresh. See? I just need to say, okay, is there an image on this folder? Let me say dot Southtech. Okay, I have this logo. right? I have another logo here. Let me just use the same thing for illustration purpose. I have the logo here again. Save it. If I refresh, this is what's going to happen. So somehow it appeared as a, okay, seems we've commented the Bootstrap. You see? But if I uncomment the Bootstrap and refresh, this becomes a slider. Right? Becomes a slider. I just need to have my 3 images ready and that is sorted out. This carousel, that is not all. If you come down, you will see another kind of carousel. This carousel does not have indicators. But this carousel have what? Indicators. And you can see that by this format that you have there. This ID, carousel example indicators, right? So this is going to pick the CSS file from that and effect it on the site. Same thing, there's another one that have the image and have the description for the image. If you want to do that, you pick this one, right? But all you need to do is to make sure that what you change this header 5 tag and the paragraph tags and the paragraph text, right? The second slider text and the what? The paragraph text. Then you have crossfade, right? I see the way it's fading and coming. It's not transiting kind of, right? So that's just to explain, this one is a auto playing carousel, right? So this is just going to, if there's any difference. Okay, so if you observe for each of them, so whichever one that you need, you just copy, paste, implement, and make changes to it. Look at tables. Same thing for tables. For buttons, same thing for buttons. If you want a button, you see that instead of it to just do a regular button, so you see a button tag now have a type button with a class BTN. Automatically, that makes this a button. If you want a button that is going to be blue, primary in Bootstrap means what? Blue. Gray means what? Secondary. Green means what? Success. Red means danger. Yellow means, I think, warning. Info means this kind of a light green or so. Not good to go with colors then, right? So for any of this one that you pick, let's pick this. So you just put it below this guy. If I paste this and check it up, see what I'm going to find. Are you seeing those buttons here? So you see, it didn't do color styling. It didn't do any of all of those because the styling for each of those Bootstrap classes are already in the Bootstrap file, right? So it makes our job very, very easy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to build this site from scratch using each of those components. So I'm going to take off everything from here to the end, refresh, and I have a very blank site. See the same thing with cards. Are you seeing the cards? Different type of cards. Some have links, right? Without links. If you go to button, if you go to badge, let's say you have a notification on one section of your website. See the way it is. If you're going to be doing main stack, LAMP stack, you're going to be doing backend. So you could use Bootstrap to do your front end, then implement all of those database stuff over Bootstrap. Accordion, if you are building a section of a website where you need to do like a FAQ, frequently asked question, right? Like if you see this site it's a Bootstrap site. So you see what's it called? You're going to see an accordion section on the website. Okay, so for accordion, you can use to do an FAQ section, something like this. Okay, I think this is it here, right? So if you come on this side, this is Bootstrap. You check this section. you're going to see accordion in action, right? This is accordion. Okay. So I'll take this off, take this off, take this off, take this off, take this off. This is just to explain to you some of the different components and layouts that you can use towards building your site. Now, another thing I want to talk about before I commence is examples. If you go to examples, you will see several sections of Bootstrap that you can also incorporate into your site. If you go to header, for instance, right, you go to heroes, you go to features, you go to, let me see the ones I can use, footer, you go to, let's say, pricing, you go to, let's say, carousel. I've talked about carousel before now. You go to, let's say, navbar. I might not use navbar in this project. You go to, okay, I think that's fine. I think I've looked at footer. So you see this header. This is what your regular menu of your website can look like. So you see different styles. You see different styles, right? Now, with your knowledge of HTML, you can right-click this guy, right? And you can see what's happening. That's to say that this is my headers, right? So if I want something like this part, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the fourth section. So I will come this way. So this is like the example. So this is the first part. So this is the first part, right? This is the first part. This is the second part. This is the fourth part, right? So this should be the fifth part. That P3 text background dark. That is from here, right? From here up to this point. So what these guys are doing, this B example divider is this spaces they are seeing here, right? These spaces you are seeing here. These spaces you are seeing here, right? That is that divider. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me try this. So it's going to be, I'm sure it's going to be this one. So I can copy this, right? And get this very, very done. I paste this. Once I paste, I refresh. What am I going to see? See, I have that already. Right? So I have features, pricing, about these mirrors. So if I want the lighter one, that is the one before it does this particular one, I could do the same thing. That is, instead of that one, sorry, instead of that one, I could pick, that is the one before the dark background. Before the dark background, that is this one, started here, ended here, just after that dark background. So I'll pick this one. I'll replace with this. Refresh. See, I have my name already. Right? I think there's a logo here, right? It might not be showing. If we open up, that is this guy. It might be the this href, as in to tell us where it is going to. This HVG class, width, height, and all of that. So we could take this off because that's the logo. We could take this off and maybe just do an image source, an img, and do a source, and do my Celtec logo, right? Let's refresh this. So see, too large. So we could just say, okay, let's make the height just 100, right? Let's see what's going to happen. So 100 is still quite a lot. we can just make it 80. Right? So this is fine. So we've gotten a very simplistic menu from what? The Bootstrap header examples. The next thing we want is that we want a hero section. Don't forget this hero section, we picked it from what? Examples. You come to Bootstrap, go to examples, you see all of them here. So see this hero section. If you land on the homepage of your website, at times you're going to find something like this, right? After the menu section, something like this, or something like this, right? Or something like this, like a call to action, or something like this. I think I like this one, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's border hero with cropped image and shadow. So I'll copy this and we'll just right click to see if I can grab, view the page source. I will just Control F to find, right? This is it. So this is it here, started here, ended here. The divider is here, the divider is here, right? So I can copy this, just come below the menu, and I have this. If I save it and try to refresh my site, see what I'm going to have. Primary default. So all I just need to know to do is to change all of this text here, change the logo here and whatever. So if I go to the logo, this is the logo here, right? Source is what? Saltec logo. Of course, that's the only image I have in this folder. Save. I say, okay. Welcome to Saltec Web Dev Academy, right? So I have something like this. You see, there's an issue with this image, right? Maybe too big. Because of the width, we can force a height, or instead of width, we can just force a height of, let's say, 500. 500 is fine. Right? So this is slightly sizable. So we have a menu, we have a hero section. And don't forget, before you do most of these things, one thing you want to do is to plan. We've talked about information architecture. On the channel, you have a complete explanation of planning your site, information architecture, planning the layout, your, what's it called? The different content you have, audio, video, image, where are you going to lay them out, what's your homepage going to look like, and all of that. So if I want to like do a simple sketch of what my website is going to be like, I could do something like this. I want to have a website like this. I want to have a menu area. I want to have like a slider or hero section, right? Now I want to have a small text to introduce the content of the site. Then I want to now have some display of different services, right? Let's say 6 of it, right? I want to have 6 of it, 6 different services. And I want to have, let's say, some more text. I want to have some more text. Once I'm done with that, and I want to have my, maybe a Google map. I want to have a Google map. Then I want to have a footer section. So this is going to be my footer section where you have your copyright. So before you start any website, you want to have either a UI UX designer do all of that, or you just want to see a template that can help you achieve that, or you want to sketch what the simple layout of the site is going to look like. So if we go by this now, it then means this is our logo, this is our menu, home, about, contact, and all of that, our phone number. This is the hero section we've built already. So we just need some text. After the text, we can now have our different services, right? After different services, we can have a map. After the map, we can have, let's say, the footer area. So you want to have an idea of what you're building before you kickstart. So I'll clear this up. I will go back to my code. and go back to this place. So this is what we've built so far. Now, if you examine Bootstrap, you find out that you have text. If you go back to the documentation, for an example, if you go back to documentation, you're going to find out that you have some like basic text or containers. Okay, we can use container, that is fluid containers that we can add content inside, right? So if we put this, we can now add some content inside, right? So we could just say fluid container, right? And we go to this place and we say just after that, we want to have this. So we'll add some text here. Say hello world, or go to ChatGPT and let's see if we can generate some text. So let's employ the services of ChatGPT. Let's say, okay, this is Southtech Ventures Academy. We are working on a website and we need some content for the welcome home page, right? Just give us an awesome introduction for the different services and training courses. Okay, so whatever text we're going to have, this is too much, guy. Okay, so we could have a header, a H1, and we have this text. So we just have this, right, and drop it here, inside here, right? Let's refresh and see what it looks like. See where it is? So it's fluid. So let's see if we can just center it. Let's see if we can center it. Just a second. Close this. So let's just see if we can center this. Very simplistic. I could just wrap this into center. There's a better way to do it, but we'll just keep it very simple, right? Right? So we just have this text. Next thing we want to do is we want to let's change our class to container and let's see if we can find any better change. Right? It's better than the fluid that was extending to the far left. If you find that you're going to see that this doesn't look like what I wanted, so each of this is not a paragraph. So, but if I wrap this into a paragraph text, it's going to make a lot of sense. So I'll just double click on this, right? Cut it, right? Paragraph tag. So this is from your HTML. You paste, that becomes a what? A paragraph. Cut, right? Paragraph, paste, that becomes what? A paragraph. Double click on this, cut. That becomes a paragraph. So you could format and make this a little bit neater, right? You could format and make this a little bit neater later on. So if you check this, see what you're going to have. Are you seeing difference? So let's say we do away with the last one. We don't need the last one, this guy. We don't need it. Right? So we just have only two. Right? So we've gotten a menu, we've gotten a hero section, we've gotten an introduction. The next thing we might want is we've gotten this, is our feature section. So now this is where we can have things like services. what our services, what services is this. Our services is that, right? So this is, I love this. This is like having 6 sections at a time. This is like having one lead section and another section, right? We can even put this into that initial slide that we had. Let's assume that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Or let's assume that we have, let's say, 6 sessions, 6 services. And the 6 service, this is one service, and this is the explanation of the features of that particular service. Then we have another service, and it has its own explanations. It then means we can take that slide or that carousel, fix it, and put each of these into the slides. What will now happen is that if you come to this first one, it's going to show this. If you tap or you don't tap, it's going to move to the second slide. Both this is text, is not images. So that's possible. So you can try that and let me know what it looks like. So which of them should we use? Okay, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to do that first one I talked about, then we'll do a second part. So I think we can just go and pick carousel. Where is carousel? We've closed it up. We go to carousel. This is our carousel. This carousel, right? We go pick carousel. This is it. So for this one, we don't want, what's it called? We don't want any description, right? Because we're talking about text. So I can pick this first one, right? Come here. Just come far below. Have this. So this is our carousel. But you see this carousel, we're not going to be using images. Deleted. Second image deleted. Third image, right? What? Deleted. What are we going to be putting into it? We're going to be putting this feature. So this is going to be 1. We'll put it again for 2. We'll put it again for the what? For the third. We'll take off this guy. We don't need it. So if we want to grab this, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the one with features with title. So we just view page source. Features with title. Let me find features with title. Okay, this is it. See the divider, right? So this is it. This is where it started from, and this is definitely where it ended. Let's look for that divider. Okay, it ended. There's nothing after it. So I'm sure it's going to end here, right? So here, where's the divider? This is it. So I'll just copy this guy and paste. So we're going to paste one here, and one here. And the 3 of them will do what? We have the carousel feature. So I'm going to drop it here. So how do I know that this is going to work? Now, you can collapse. If you check this div tag to see if you copied extra div tags, you tap this very first one and see where it ended. Okay. So there's an issue. It seems we're taking too much of the div closing tags. So this is the first one. So it ended somewhere around here. So it seems we picked too much of the tags, of the div tags. So sorry, just a moment. So what we're going to do is that we're going to check this first one, right? Where this one ended. This one ended here. This one is ending somewhere here. So I think we're just going to take off. We're going to take off, let's say 1. Let me take off 2 first and see where this one is ending. This one is ending here. So that means we need 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me add 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me add this one and see where it ended. Correct. So always know that your div opening tags should have a closing tag. So I will just copy everything here. So this is just going to be 1. Sorry. I will copy everything here, and this is going to be 1. Sorry. I'm going to copy everything here. Everything here. But let me first see how it looks like. See what it looks like? But it's a carousel actually. Features with title. So I'm going to delete that features with title. Features with title, this one. Features with title. So this text, I'm going to remove this guy. I'm going to remove this guy. Features with title. I'm going to take this off. Come to the next carousel, fix it. Come to the next carousel, fix it. Right? Refresh. See, we should have our carousel. Something is wrong. So the carousel is not working. We can fix that later on. But I guess you understand what I was trying to do. Let me not make the video too long. So we have this. So if we wanted to change the text, we can say, okay, our services for the very first one, they're just going to be our services carousel, left aligned. So we say, okay, this is software development services, right? If I come here and refresh, this is what I'm going to see. So the different services, I can have them here, right? Right? So the last part is going to be, let's say I want to embed a Google map. Or let me just go to my footer. Let's see if we can embed the Google map. So we say South Ventures. We go to see if we can look for the map. So how do you embed map on a HTML page? So you click on this share. So you click on, let me check this. Let me see, South Consult. Okay, let me pick this particular one. So you could say share. Once you click on share, it will bring out an option for you to embed the map. So if you want to just share the link for someone to be able to navigate to this particular location, you could use send a link, right? Copy this link. If you want if you want to embed this on the website, you click on embed. Then you can copy the HTML code. But what you're going to find out that in this HTML code, you are going to see something like, let me see, you're going to see something like the width and the height. So, but let's first copy it. Let's come just underneath this, the last code that is here. And let's paste this. Are you seeing the width and the height of the map? Right? See the code, right? But see the width and the height of the map. So the width is what? 600. So we want something a little bit longer. So we can say 1,200. Then the height of 450 is fine. Okay, we can see if we can make it 300. When we save and refresh this, see what we're going to have. We're going to have something like this. So the map is trying to load. Let me go back to just the home page. So see what we have. So the map is loading, not full. So let's see if we can increase this and make it, let's say 1.5. Okay, so see what we have. So we have the location embedded on the website. I think users can decide to swap with this or the other way. So you could have a H1 tag title here. Let's work on the last part. The last part is the what? Is the footer. So if you go to the examples and you go to footer, where's the footer? Where's the footer? Yes, footer. If you come to footer, so you're going to find different types of footer. So let's say I want this particular last footer, this very last one, right? So this very last one. So I just right click, view page source, go to the very last one, which is this. After the divider, I'll pick this particular container to the last one, right? Yes, to this very last one. Copy. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to paste. Of course, I could say the company is, let's say, Saltech Academy, right? If I go to the source code or the front end and refresh, see what I'm going to have. So you see, I've used the existing Bootstrap examples to build. I think the map is trying to load because of the internet. So you're going to see that you've successfully built something that was just you using the headers, the carousel, some text with a div container, some features, a Google map embedded, and of course, you having the footer, right? So this is one way you can use existing Bootstrap components to like build a site. So if you don't want to do this also, you can use made with Bootstrap. So with Bootstrap made, you have quite a lot of existing templates that you can use to like build your stuff without having to build from the very scratch. So you see, the site is what? Bootstrap made. You have roughly around 60 thereabouts, 60 plus. I think it's about 80. I think it's 85. You have different templates that you can use to do what? To start up building Bootstrap. Now, without you having to go back to all of this to like pick the components one after the other. So if you check this, this is what this site looks like, right? This is what the site looks like, and you can actually download this as it is. Then, of course, you can start doing all of your editings. So what you're going to be changing for this particular one, what you're going to be changing is all of the logo, the text, the images, the write-ups, and all of that. And that's how you can use Bootstrap to like build something without having to build everything from scratch. So if you come to this Bootstrap made, you have quite a lot of templates for real estate, for landing page, for personal, for restaurant. I've built quite a lot of websites using some of these templates, and they are all based on Bootstrap, right? So on the channel, you have an example of how to create something using any of the templates. So after this, if you've learned HTML, you've learned all of the things we've talked about now, you can now proceed to use learning how to use any of these templates to like build something very fresh, changing all of the text, all of the images, maybe some of the effects, the colors, and all of that. Okay, any questions, you can always enter that in, and it will be a pleasure answering you.